All right, welcome to episode -1 on the Worch podcast. I have been thinking about starting this podcast for the longest time, and I have been delaying starting this. I started my first YouTube channel in 2017. It was a finance-based channel. I think I recorded about 20 videos and then ended up stopped doing YouTube, just lost of consistency and stopped filming. And then in 2022, I started recording a podcast, not a podcast, but YouTube videos again. I was doing finance videos also again, and I lasted for about 3 months and then stopped. So here I am again. Here I am again, really trying to get back at it, putting together a plan. My goal for this is to do 20 podcasts. I saw somewhere online statistic about how less than 1% of people actually even get to 20 podcasts. So if I can get to 20 and I can keep learning as I do this and as I go along, I think this could be good. Why do I want to do this podcast? I have a few personal reasons why I wanted to do this. One, I'm a content creator at heart. So I've always been into creating content. I am a content creator and a filmmaker at heart, as well as an entrepreneur. And so naturally, I love filming. I love documenting journeys, adventures, creative documentary film. So I think this would be great to start a video podcast. A few of my personal goals that I wanted to work on these last few years is learning how to speak in general, how to articulate ideas and articulate what's in my mind, because I feel like I have a lot of information that I know that I want to pass on, that I want to share with people, but the information is worthless if it's just sitting up here in my head. So I needed a way to get it out, unfiltered, and package it in clean, neat version of that information. And I think a video podcast would be a great way to do it. So this selfishly is going to help me learn how to articulate ideas better and have better conversations. So that's one of the reasons I thought, you know what, let's start a video podcast. The second thing is all of the great people that I know I'm going to be able to meet on my journey doing this podcast. So the idea is to go around and interview business owners and entrepreneurs, go to their places of business, go to their work, go to their headquarters, and have conversations with them. This is not a new idea. This is not This is not a new idea. This is not an original idea, but it's something I want to do for myself. I'll enjoy doing. I'll get to have a lot of great conversations with a lot of really cool people. So that excites me. So I want to be able to do that. And I hope that brings a lot of value to people that watch these videos, even if it's 2 people. So that's the second reason that I really want to do this. And 3, it's just, the third thing would be my son, and I want to be able to focus this podcast in a way that I'm speaking to him and teaching him lessons. He's really young now, he's a baby, but in the future, if I'm not around and I didn't get to go over a lot of things with him about money and finance and business and entrepreneurship, he can watch these videos, and these videos will always be there. So I think the overall framing of this is going to be, I'm talking to him. And he's my audience as well as anyone else who's watching this, but he's just like me talking to my son and going over things with him. So that'd be another really good reason, more of a kind of a personal, nostalgic type reason I want to do this. So those are the 3 things. So I'll kind of go back a little bit in 2017 when I started let me up this audio because I'm not peaking and I'm not talking loud enough. So there, I just peaked. Okay, that's sensitive. In 2017, when I started the Money Bistro, it was a hybrid of, so I started vlogging, and then I started more of a studio finance type videos, and then I did a hybrid, and I was like, you know what, I can really package these videos in a vlog style format, finance based videos, and whatever I'm talking to, or whoever I'm talking to, whatever the topic is in that video, that I could deliver it wherever that has to do. So I filmed, for example, one of my videos was I got to interview an author of a book, and we went to the specific place that he was talking about in the book. So I thought that was pretty neat. So I did that for a while. I did as many vlogs, and like everyone, when you start off, just start vlogging, just start vlogging, just start filming. So I thought that was a really good way to just start creating. And I was really trying to fine tune what it is that I want to do in the context of filmmaking. What am I into? Cool. Filmmaking is very broad in itself. So I figured if I just hit record, start vlogging, and kind of fine tune what it is that I'm actually interested in doing. So then I decided I want to do a documentary film, which is unfollowmovie.com. You can find it on YouTube, unfollowmovie.com. And I basically, at that time, I was having difficulty with social media, depression basically, and comparing myself with everyone else. So I was like, I'm going to do a documentary film about social media and how it's impacting the culture today. So it ended up being about an hour and 40 minutes long. It took probably reality 6 months to do, but COVID hit, as well as some personal challenges in my life. So it ended up taking about ended up taking about a year and a half to put together, and I finally finished it. It was a really cool process. I had a lot of great people that helped me out in the production of this film, and then I really enjoyed that. But I've always had a knack to want to share my entrepreneur experience and my business experience. That's just always something I've always been interested and enjoyed, the way money works, the way money operates. So most recently, in the idea to start this podcast, I acquired a coffee shop, which is now has been franchised, and I'm in the process of selling franchises, myself and my business partner. And I'm learning so many things being an owner of a coffee shop, working with employees, working with the cost of goods, marketing, everything I'm learning. I'm like, wow, I can really package this and kind of put together really good content, short videos, long form content, vlog style content, and really go over things that I'm learning day to day. And I think there's a lot of value that will bring to a lot of people's lives, just sharing the things that I'm learning, like on the spot, on the moment while I'm learning it, and then kind of tie it in with some theoretical type things, tie it in, with books that I'm reading. For example, I most recently been reading Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks, the founder and CEO of Starbucks. One of his 2 books that he has. I almost finished the first one. It's called Onward. And my intention is really, I don't want to really copy necessarily the business model of Starbucks. Let me backtrack. I want to be different than Starbucks. But they have a great business model on what they're doing. They've obviously been very successful. But the idea is to get in the mind of these CEOs, get in the mind of these brilliant people that started these incredible, groundbreaking type businesses, and kind of really adopt those mindsets and see how it is they think. Because they're not necessarily doing things differently, although they are, but they really think completely differently than the typical person thinks. So I want to be bringing these books in that I read into this podcast and tie it in with lessons that I'm learning for myself with the coffee shop, as well as some real estate ventures that I'm involved in. And I think I could package something together really nice. I don't know yet if I'm really branding this as a business podcast or what this is. Right now, it's the Mark Worch Show. I would imagine, like most podcasts, this is branded as one thing. But, I guess there's some political podcasts, right? There's some business podcasts, but a lot of times people get off on a tangent in a sense. So I'm still fine-tuning about what this podcast even is. Is it going to be more educational in a sense where I'm standing in front of a marker board going over theory and explaining things? I think some of the content will be like that. That will be useful. It's something that I'm learning, and I think I want to pay attention to what people think, and see what people are asking for as this channel hopefully grows and moves forward. But I think that will bring a lot of value to people, have more like explanation, kind of like school style videos, as well as in the field, in the coffee shop, more dynamic type vlog style videos. So that's going to be an ever evolving thing. So I just want to pay attention to what works and what makes the most sense for what I'm trying to accomplish. So I don't even know what the time is on this. Okay, so it's been 11 minutes right now, just talking to the camera by myself. I didn't put any notes together. I had a general idea of just wanted to talk about was basically I have no idea what I'm doing. So I don't really have like any other agenda to talk about. One thing, so here's a good thing to mention. I bought all of this podcast equipment. Well, first of all, it's on my goal/habit list that I create every single year to start a podcast this year. And here I am now, June 4th, 2024, halfway through the year, and I finally hit record. It took all the way to June. I bought all this gear and all this equipment. I had a lot of residual equipment from my former documentary film and from 2017, but I wanted to get the podcast gear, the software for the computer, things like that. I compiled all that probably 5 to 6 weeks ago, and it was just sitting in a box in my room the whole time. So I know I was like, you know what? I just need to hit record. I just need to start. I don't know. For example, I was contemplating, I want to get some office space so it's super seamless and I'll be eliminating a lot of friction. When I want to go to record a video, I just go and everything's set up. The cameras are set up, the mics, the audio, the lighting, everywhere, everything I want. It's already intentional. I know exactly how to do it, and that saves a lot of time. Side note to self, on this bottom, I'm pointing to one of the bottom corners here. I need to put a little light or something there to light that up. That'll look really sick. But anyways, I was like, I want to eliminate friction so that I can film. So why don't I rent office space and I can go there as much as I want any time of the day. I've got no restrictions. Anytime I want, anytime a guest can come, boom, we can go to the office space. Everything's set up. We sit down and we just hit record right away. But obviously I was like, do I really want to blow a budget on that as opposed to just filming wherever I can for free and hiring, using a budget for an editor, or perhaps maybe hiring a second person, or perhaps hiring one person to help me set up and kind of monitor the cameras and the audio as I go, and just film with that person just kind of standing on the side, helping me set up, helping me tear down the set. So I went back and forth about, okay, am I gonna get some office space or not? My wife really helped me. I talked to her a lot about this and figure out, like, what do you think? What do you think? And she provided a lot of information, and we concluded that the best thing for me was use that budget to start recording. I'll get a higher return, and if this podcast takes off, and if I start generating income from this podcast, or if there ends up being more of a budget for this podcast, and things are still going good, i.e. I'm still doing it, I'm still adding value to people, I'm still recording, and it makes sense to get an office after 20 podcasts, then I'll do it. So for now, I'm just going to be going to business owners, filming in spots that I do have to film, and from there, I can grow. I can get an office space, get a designated studio. I do anticipate, though, a lot of the times I'll actually be going to business owners' businesses, so it wouldn't make sense to get an office anyways, because if I'm interviewing, so I'm in Delray Beach, if I'm interviewing someone in Miami, Florida, and they have a really cool spot or a really cool car garage or something really neat at their office, a really cool headquarters, it'd be fantastic to interview them at their headquarters. So that would totally negate this idea of needing an office. Also, as I start to interview more higher level people, those people aren't going to want to drive all the way to my studio. They're going to want to just make it super simple, and I need to make it super frictionless for them. So going to wherever they're at, whether they're flying in town for a day in Miami and I need to drive down to Miami and we do something in the hotel lobby or wherever they're at, or a conference room there or by the pool, whatever they have in mind, it just makes more sense that a lot of this inherently, a lot of this filming, a lot of this podcasting would already be somewhere else and not in a studio. So I concluded, you know what? I just need to hit record. in reality, I was trying to have everything set up perfectly instead of just hitting record and just doing the work and just start filming. So that's why I'm here. I put this on my Google Calendar 4 days ago and said, I don't care. This is a Tuesday night. I'm going to record Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. I'm going to set up and I'm going to record. I'm not going to make excuse about I don't know what to talk about. I don't have any notes. I want to have an outline so I could really add a lot of value to people. I'm hoping that a lot of you share the same story that I'm dealing with right now in terms of you really want to do something. You really want to start that business. You really want to start that podcast, but you're just not doing it. And there's always these reasons why, and there's always going to be those reasons why you're just not doing it. There's always going to be that friction. And in my case, it was just excuse after excuse. If I get this, then it'll be perfect. Then I'll be ready to start. Then I'll be ready to start the podcast. So I figured, you know what? I'm trying to get the circumstances perfect instead of just accepting them the way they are. And let's just start filming. So here I am. Let's just hit record. That sounds pretty cool. Just hit record. If you are thinking about starting a business or doing that idea, just get started. Just get started today, right now. In fact, stop watching this video and start whatever it is you do. Start the first page of that book. Start writing down something for the business you want to do. If you're a person that just make a ton of lists but you never execute, just do the first thing that you have on the list. Stop this video right now and do the first thing that you have on that list. And you're already on your way to doing it. And then tomorrow, do the second thing. The next day, do the third thing. And then do a couple per day. And then you'll start building momentum. And then all of a sudden, you're doing the thing that you've been holding off for so long. And here's a great thing. Once you get started, you can still be obsessed with perfection and perfecting things as you progress and as you go while you're in the process. But if you're so obsessed about perfecting something and that's your excuse for not starting, then it negates the whole idea of perfection anyways, because you never actually even start. And you don't know what is going to work and what's not going to work. You don't know what perfection is yet because you haven't started. So I'm learning for myself. I don't know. I have this idea of something, of what's going to look perfect. But until I start tweaking things, tweaking audio, tweaking lighting, fixing a bunch of this, I'm blowing out on the side camera here, tweaking things like that, I won't know until I just hit record, until I just start. I don't know how this audio is going to sound for you guys. I hope it sounds good. I'm going to run it straight through some AI software to make it sound perfect. But it's just a matter of nothing else matters if you're not recording the content and you're not uploading it. So that was a big lesson for me, to just get started. And the more you do something, it's just like working out. You get in the reps, you grow from it. So I'll learn a hell of a lot more doing this 100 days in a row than thinking about what am I missing to make this perfect, and another 3.5 months go by and I don't record one video, as opposed to why don't I just record 100 days in a row or 3 times a week. And I'll learn a lot more as I go along. And if I'm missing something, I'll just keep adding it in and getting better and getting better. A lot of the content creators that I've watched in the past and even now, I love to go back to their first videos that they ever posted 5, 10, 15 years ago. And it's pretty cool that they actually still keep them up. But you can see the videos look completely different. They articulate themselves differently, some of them. And everything's just completely different. You can see the growth, the progression as they went along. So I think we have in our mind that we want to be perfect like we will be on our 1,000th video. But we want to do that on video number 1. And we're just, in our mind somehow, we're not thinking that, well, we can just skip the 999 other videos before and not hit record and just all of a sudden get to the thousands video in terms of perfectionism. So I just want to put in the reps, do the work that I need to do, and gain as much as I can personally from this. by articulating myself and providing value to anyone who's watching these videos, and leave a legacy for my son, videos for him to see, as well as talk to a bunch of cool people. And I'm really excited about that part, all the conversations I can have with a lot of different people. So it's 21 minutes now. So that's all I'm going to record today. I don't have an outro. I don't have a tagline. I don't have an intro. I don't have lower thirds. I don't have any of that. I didn't want to use that. I don't have thumbnails, custom thumbnails. I didn't want to make those as an excuse for not just hitting record. So here I am. That does bring up one other thing I wanted to talk about briefly. It's setting up social media pages when you first start a business. I realized for myself the best thing to do when I first started business is to stay off of social media with the business for the first 3 to 6 months. And the reason I wanted to do that for myself was, and the reason I think that's a good idea for myself, I haven't done that with my business, but that would be a good idea for myself, is because a lot of people, myself included, when we start a new business, right? When we start a business, we spend so much time setting up the business instead of actually focusing on getting clients and getting sales. So I've seen this so many times, people start a business, but all they really do is they start an Instagram page, and they get so focused on setting up an Instagram page and social media and a bunch of accounts and a bunch of administrative type things, they never actually do the work to start the business. Those things all are important, but again, I think those are really subconsciously, those are forms of delay tactics. And we're really just avoiding the work that we need to get done, the work that we need to do. Ergo, that's why I decided I'm not going to start. I'm not going to go with the lower thirds package or anything like that and have to deal with intros, outros, anything like that, because those would just be excuses. Then I'll be working on those. Then I would be editing those, and I would just be doing everything and procrastinating and just not recording videos. So here we are. I'm Worch. Thanks for watching. Just hit record.